This ain't no disco.
This ain't no country club neither.
This is RVA.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Oh Lala in the Dungeon.
Wait, is this episode 15?
I believe it is.
Losing track of the numbers, guys. Welcome back to Oh La La in the Dungeon.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It truly does, especially in July.
And in Richmond.
Yes. Speaking of July in Richmond.
Yes, tell us what you've been up to.
Well, we've been up to a lot. There is so much to do this time of the year, so we really packed it in. I went to Blue Atlas with my friend Jess and her football and kickball team, and we watched their friend play in his jazz trio band called the B-Sides. They were really good. They played covers of like Billy Joel covers, Just the Way You Are, but it's like all instrumental, and it was really relaxing. Also, Blue Atlas switches out their menu a lot, and it's on the fancier side. So I highly recommend this place for a romantic date night. Not really like a night with tons of friends, but maybe. But
I'm going on a double date there on
that'd
Wednesday.
Be perfect. You'll enjoy it.
You're dating two guys? What?
No. My friend Lindsay, who got married in Manchester, her and her husband.
Oh, okay.
And then also, I went to Lakeside Tavern after that for karaoke, and we saw a guy perform Truth Hurts by Lizzo, and it was hilarious because these two men were like breakdancing to it. And then also another guy did Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Oh my God.
And that's one of my favorite bands. So.
I've never heard anyone do either of those at karaoke.
You went to Lakeside and you didn't call me? I love that place.
I was invited with a big group of friends.
Oh, best cheeseburgers! Yeah, I'll tell you.
That's Korean food.
That's right. The owner, he makes this I don't know what's the word for it. It's like crossover foods. It's best stuff.
Oh, like Asian fusion.
Asian food. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and he's a nice guy, and
They're really nice people there.
good karaoke.
And then also I went to Bovine Burgers twice last weekend for boozy milkshakes and burgers. They have the best milkshakes in the area, in my opinion. I highly recommend, even though I'm not so sure that they had AC because it was painfully hot both times we were there. Like, it was bad.
I've never eaten in there. We order it to like Uber Eats all the time, but
It's a fun place to go, but I guess not in July.
Where's Bovines?
Downtown.
Oh.
No, it's in Carytown, near Cary Street.
Okay.
And then I'm going to hurry up because I have a lot of stuff that I did. I went to Beach House on a Monday with my friend Sarah, and it ended up being a really fun night, and we sang karaoke again until midnight, and we got really wild. We made friends with the karaoke guys. One of them is the guys that we met is Sean Speak, who we are going to have on the podcast in a few months. He had us singing backup while he rapped Empire State of Mind by Jay-Z. He was hilarious, definitely like the coolest hype man, and he was dressed up as a gangster Renaissance knight on a Monday at Beach House. I loved it.
What a mix.
And then Liz and I saw the Barbie movie, of course.
the day before it came out officially,
Yeah.
the preview night.
We saw it with our friends Corinne and Amy and Ashley at Cinebistro at the Stony Point Fashion Mall. We dressed up in our best Barbie outfits. We drank cocktails. We ate lots and lots of popcorn.
Until we burnt our tongues.
Yeah, my tongue hurt.
Well,
for like
it
a
was
week.
like dried out from salt, I guess. I don't know.
No butter. They knew we were on a diet.
Yeah, right. I know. I was like, where's the butter?
Then we did more karaoke at Caddy's.
That was the theme of the week, I guess. Karaoke.
Okay, and then I went to Beach House again the next day with my friend Jess for a Barbie costume contest put on by Glam Events, RVA. Our bartender was Rachel. I asked her, they were doing like a $5 special on these pink shooters, and I asked if she could put it in a martini glass. She went above and beyond by giving me a pink sugar rim, adding soda water, and she turned it into a fabulous, cheap martini. And she did not have to do all that. It was so busy. So shout out to Rachel. Woohoo. She won the Barbie contest, so she deserved it. She had the spirit of Barbie. Barbie is nice. Then I strapped on my overalls.
I was like, where is this going?
I strapped on my overalls the next day, and I headed out to the Powhatan Bonanza Rodeo on Rocky Oak Farm with Sarah. It was my very first rodeo, and now I can officially say, this ain't my first rodeo. Womp, womp, womp. I ended up really loving it, even though it's like animal abuse, but there is such a thrill in watching people get on an angry bull and surviving it. It was so scary, and I think that's why I liked it. It was like a roller coaster or like watching a horror movie. We also watched kids ride the bulls too, and the really small kids did a sheep riding contest to see who could hold on the longest, and it was just like so fascinating. We also met a cowboy as he was coming out of the porta potty, and we asked him to take our picture. Yeehaw! Okay, one more thing. Liz and I, this is also a shout out to our new sponsor. Liz and I had an opportunity to take a belly dancing class with Maya's Belly Dancing. We had a blast. We shook our booties with our coin belts that Maya gave to us.
And she was so generous. Oh my gosh, I love mine.
She's really sweet. Her name is
really cool looking.
Daisy.
Yes, but Maya's Belly Dancing.
And we recommend this class to any ladies that need spiritual healing, want to get more in touch with their feminine energy, or just want to move around and have some fun. You can find her on Instagram at Maya's Belly Dancing. And she offers classes at the Dance Space on Broad Street in Richmond and at, how do you say that, Liz? Tangueros in Midlothian.
And we'll be at the class Monday at the Dance Space if anyone wants to come hang with us. It's so fun.
It is. It's really fun.
And a good workout. My abs were kind of sore.
My calves hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, my calves too. Okay, well, Olivia ran over what we did together, so I won't include that because we did a lot. But my family and I had a lovely picnic at Agecroft Manor for the Shakespeare Festival about 2 weeks ago. We saw the Comedy of Errors out on the back lawn. The cast is super talented, and that night there were like 1 billion dragonflies zooming around the audience. It was huge? Like, they were, but it looked like a movie. Like, it was so pretty. And you can see the river from the lawn back there. When you're facing the stage, you're not facing that way, but like, we ate beforehand. Garden Grove Brewing was there. They had some wine as well. Of course, we took like 4 bottles of wine with us, me and my family, and of course we finished it. We also got amazing fried chicken from Mama J's. Shout out to Mama J's. They the best. We did not have ham at this gathering, but I'm sure we will at another point, Olivia. Ham. So the Shakespeare Festival is going on until the end of this week. I know for sure. So catch it before it's gone, if you can stand the heat. And then the following evening, Matt and I, my husband, we went to the Positively Delicious Gala with benefiting the Positive Vibe Foundation. Positive Vibe Foundation, excuse me, I can't talk. Formerly Get Lost MD Foundation. Prepares people with cognitive or physical disabilities for paid employment in the food service industry.
That's cool.
Yep. There were several local chefs, bartenders, breweries, and wineries at the event, as well as an auction. Didn't bid or win anything. Sadly, their mics or sound system was horrible, and we could barely understand. That was the only sour note.
You kept getting shushed.
Of the event. Well, other people in the audience did, not us.
How did you not get shushed? You're the loudest person I know.
When I'm around my daddy, I try to act civilized.
A well-behaved baby
yes,
girl.
unless we're at a backyard barbecue. The highlight for me was seeing Michelle Jones. She's like the head of the event, and she's so sweet. She, I know her from back in her Pasture days.
Pasture?
R.I.P. That was one of the best restaurants ever.
Oh.
And Chef Jason Alley's pimento cheese. Damn, that stuff's good. So good. Keep an eye and an ear out for upcoming events by this amazing foundation. Word on the street is next year's event could possibly be a Christmas in July shindig, which would be a throwback to their pasture days because Michelle was the GM and Jason was the chef there. And every year they had a big Christmas in July event, which is how Matt and I got to know Michelle because we obviously were like over the top in Christmas decor. For that, and they had
AC is working for Christmas.
I know,
in
right?
July.
And they always had kick-ass frozen eggnog. Oh my God! So I hope and pray that this comes true. And then, yep, like Olivia said, we went and saw the Barbie movie. I remember the espresso martinis way more than the movie itself. C'est la vie. And belly dancing was so fun. We can't wait to go back. Lee, what have you been up to?
I'm almost 60 years old. What am I going to do?
There's a lot to
stayed at home
do.
and
It's Richmond.
I read and
What
played
about
music.
your movie club?
Yeah. What about your friend that just left the dungeon?
Oh, yes. Well, still most everything was here, but so I went. Yeah, I did go to see Insidious: The Red Door.
Oh yeah, you said that
You said
last
last time.
time.
That's the last time. Yeah. So really, I haven't done a whole lot in the past 2 weeks.
It's been too hot to do that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So talk Christmas in July. Yeah, the weather outside is frightful.
I
It's
know.
like-
But the fire is also not.
I'd like to bathe myself in frozen eggnog.
yeah, so- no, yeah, I've been making a lot of music. I've been playing a lot. So that's about pretty much it. Reading. I like in this weather. I'm sorry. I have this thing. I don't like to go out between 11 a.m. and November 1st. I'm sorry. It's just Richmond's too hot. It's like, and the humidity fest. Gee,
Yep.
I think y'all are very brave for going out to outdoor events this time of year.
Well, if you drink enough alcohol, you don't feel anything.
But always drink a glass of water for each alcoholic beverage,
Wear
children.
sunscreen.
No.
All right, is it time to introduce our lovely guest?
I believe so.
Yeah.
All right, well, you guys, today's guest is an Instagram sensation with over 107K followers. Liz Thompson is an RVA vegetarian food blogger who creates tasty and healthy recipes for busy people. She goes by the username iHeartVeggies. She is also a cookbook author, a certified health coach, and a foster mom. She has been a vegetarian for 17 years, and her goal is to help people eat healthier and live happier. She believes that eating doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. She also knows how challenging it can be as a mom to feed picky toddlers and hungry teenagers. She has been a foster parent for 4 years with her husband, and they have fed kids of all ages. She adopted her son in 2023. And she continues to keep her home open for kids in foster care. Oh La La is not the only podcast Liz has been on. She has appeared on the Influencer Marketing Podcast, the Thrive Blogger Podcast, Starting From Scratch Podcast, and a lot more than that. And we're very lucky that she's on Oh La La.
Yes.
So without further ado, let us welcome Liz. Yay! How are you, Liz?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to the dungeon.
I'm so glad to be in the dungeon.
Okay, so Liz, are you from Richmond? If not, where and what brought you here?
I am originally from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up in Ohio. I was a Buckeye. And then after college, I moved to Richmond in 2010. And I kind of moved here for a job, but I really moved here because my brother and his wife moved here, and I was kind of following them. And I fell in love with Richmond. And now I've planted my roots here, and I am here for the long haul.
Nice.
Well, same here.
It's
Yep.
great. Love it.
It's interesting you say that because Cincinnati is actually one of like the 3 biggest cities that where our listeners are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so shout out to
OH.
Cincinnati.
I think that's my one of my best friends from high school and growing up, Janelle. She lives in Ohio.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, she just became a doctor, so she's one of our supporters. So at what age did you become a vegetarian and why?
So it was a very gradual process. And honestly, I feel like it was very easy for me because I truly just never really liked eating meat. And so as I got older and as I was able to cook more, anymore. I just sort of slowly made less and less meat dishes. But I really liked cooking and I liked playing in the kitchen. And so my parents were kind of like, well, we're not going to make something separate, but if you want to make your own dinner, you can make your own dinner. And so pretty much after high school, I was like, okay, well, now that I'm like buying my own groceries and making my own food, I'm just not going to eat meat anymore. And I thought it was just going to be like sort of a temporary thing. And then I realized I didn't miss it at all. And I also kind of throughout this whole journey, I discovered that I have familial hypercholesterolemia, which is a fancy way of saying that I have genetically high cholesterol. Like my liver can't process cholesterol the way that most livers can. And so my doctor was like, actually, if you stay vegetarian, that's probably better anyway. So that was like some more motivation to stick with it. And then just all the other environmental reasons and all that stuff, I was like, oh, this is convenient. And I don't really miss the meat at all.
Makes sense. This kind of leads into my question. For people who have been living under a rock, why is it better to decrease your meat consumption? And also, can you give a brief overview for anyone who doesn't know, the difference between veganism, vegetarianism, pescatarianism? You got all the isms.
Absolutely.
That's a very long question.
I think I can do this. So as a vegetarian, I eat cheese and dairy and eggs and things like that. Just no actual meat. But like pescatarians eat fish, vegans don't eat any animal products at all, so no dairy, no eggs. I really don't necessarily advocate for people to be vegetarian or vegan. I really just want people to add more vegetables into their routine.
Eat more veggies.
Exactly. It's all about adding instead of taking away. And so most of the people that follow me aren't necessarily vegetarian. They're just people that want to add some more meatless meals into the rotation. And so I just try to find what are some easy ways to get people to kind of add some more meatless meals to their diet. I think it has a lot of benefits for the environment, for health reasons, even for budget reasons. Like black beans are pretty cheap. And so finding ways to maybe do black bean tacos instead of beef tacos on Taco Tuesday, like little things like that, I think can have a really big impact. And it feels much easier and more approachable to say hey, you don't have to take it all away. Just maybe swap this in for a meal or two.
I think that people get intimidated by vegetarian meals because they're like, what do I use for me at least? Because I go to the gym. What do I use for protein? Is it just black beans? That's why I like your Instagram, because I look for inspiration. Because sometimes I don't always want to eat meat. Sometimes I get grossed out. Sometimes I don't though. But I like meat, but sometimes I don't. It's weird.
I know. I feel like I get more and more grossed out the older I get by meat, especially chicken. I feel like chicken has gotten worse as I've gotten older. I don't know why. I guess maybe because hearing stuff on the news about hormones and stuff, but also just looking at it. I need my chicken breast to be really paper thin. And if my husband or anyone buys, my mom's the same way. So if my stepdad buys the thicker pieces of chicken, we're both there's a vein there. No.
And also I went to Floyd Fest and there was a vegan tent and they had a virtual reality thing that they gave to me, and it was at the people who volunteer, and I walked around a chicken coop with chickens and it was really scary. The ones where they use for meat
Purdue
processing
or whatever.
and stuff. Yeah.
This is how it all begins.
Okay. So I guess you answered how you got interested in cooking. So when did you start your I Heart Veggies Instagram account?
So it's kind of a funny story. I actually started blogging in 2010. So before Instagram, before TikTok, back in the ancient days of food blogging. And I started a food blog because I had just moved to Richmond and I decided to go vegan. So I was already vegetarian. I knew I had high cholesterol. At the time, I didn't know that it was a genetic thing. I thought I just had regular high cholesterol. And so I was 22 maybe, and my doctor was like, you need to be on a statin. Your cholesterol is so high. And I'm like, I'm 22. I don't want to take a medication. I'm going to go vegan. I'm going to go vegan for 6 months, see if I can lower my cholesterol. Spoiler alert, I did not. I did not at all. And that led me to finding out that it was a genetic thing. But through all of this, I realized I didn't really know how to cook. Like, I knew how to make a few things, but I didn't really know how to make much. And back in 2010, you really couldn't find a lot of vegan options. Like, now Richmond is a great place to be vegan or vegetarian, but in 2010, it was not. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to cook. And so I thought, I'm going to start a food blog while I'm sort of learning how to cook, because food blogs were really the only place that I could find a lot of vegan recipes back then. So I was following other food bloggers and I was like, oh, this is like kind of fun. So after 6 months, I got my cholesterol checked and it had not changed. And I was like, okay, well, then I'm going to eat cheese because cheese is delicious and I missed it. So, exactly. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm not doing the vegan thing anymore. But I was like, this food blogging thing is kind of fun. Like, it's kind of fun to get to like connect with people. And I was meeting other bloggers in Richmond, and it was kind of like a cool way to meet people. I was in a new city and I didn't know a lot of people. So I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to like keep this food blog thing going. And then over the years, Instagram came out and that became a thing. And now it's turned into a job, which is not at all what I had expected or intended, but it's been a really fun journey.
I was going to say, is it your main gig? That's amazing.
Yeah. So I had been doing social media strategy for a very large financial services company here in Richmond. And I did that for almost 10 years. And then I left at the end of 2019 to run the food blog full time. And
That's
so
awesome.
Wow.
it's been great.
It's like following your dreams. That's an inspiration to
It
us all.
really is.
Liz is in the process of following her dreams as a travel blogger.
Yes, I quit the medical field, although I'm filling in for someone this week. But I'm in the process of taking like travel agent classes and stuff because travel is my biggest passion. So
I love that.
listen to us, people. The two Liz's. Follow your dreams.
It's worth it.
Okay, this is a personal question that I just have to know. How did you get so many followers? What is your secret? Because we're trying to grow the podcast. How do you do it?
Okay, that's a great question. And unfortunately, I feel like there's not a secret. It was really just that I started literally as soon as Instagram came out, and I've been doing it for many, many years. I do think that for me, one of the things that helped a lot was thinking about what is actually useful information for people? What is something that they're going to save, they're going to share, they're going to tell their friends? And so early on, I realized like if I post the whole recipe right there in the Instagram caption where you can see it, people are going to share it and save it a lot more. And so that helped a lot. And then through the pandemic, everyone was cooking at home. And so that was a time of growth for the channel, which was not great in many aspects, but it was great for my Instagram channel. And I think just finding different ways to connect with people and just trying to make sure that the information I'm sharing is stuff that people are going to want to share and save. That's probably like the biggest thing.
That's actually really good advice. I feel like we can do that.
Yep. And we probably need to do way more hashtags.
And video content.
Yeah.
Do you do all of your own videography or do you collaborate with people or
I pretty much do all my own, and I really was like not wanting to do it. And then the writing was on the wall that it was like, this is where things are headed. If you want to stay in the game, you got to learn how to do video. And luckily now with phone technology, I can shoot 4K video on my phone. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
And then
Back
you can
when
be
I-
like real. Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Back when I started blogging, my phone had a slide out keyboard. So like I was not using that camera for anything. So it's kind of amazing how much easier it is now to create pretty good content with your phone.
Do you use a tripod with your phone?
I do. I have one of those like fancy overhead tripod things. I have like 3 different tripods depending on the situation.
And where did you, sorry, this is like off topic, but where did you get those? Amazon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like that'd be a good investment.
Definitely a good investment. You can't beat a good tripod.
Okay. So you said that blogging is now your career. Walk us through the day of a food blogger.
Oh, that's such a good question. One of the things that I really love about my job is that I kind of get to pick and choose what I do each day based on what I'm in the mood for. And I didn't realize how much I would really like that autonomy, but I think it makes me more productive because there are some days where I'm like, I'm in the mood to cook. I'm going to do recipe testing. I'm going to make a huge mess, and I'm just going to spend the day in the kitchen listening to podcasts on repeat. And then there's other days where I'm like, I kind of just want to sit at the computer and knock out all the administrative tasks, all the like nerdy stuff behind the scenes of like SEO research and analytics and reporting and all the nerdy stuff.
He loves nerdy stuff.
And then some days I'm like, oh, I'm feeling creative. I want to shoot photos. I want to shoot video. And so I typically do recipe testing in the morning and then I do administrative stuff in the afternoon. But I do really love kind of getting to figure out what I'm in the mood for each day.
That's awesome.
That's really like fun. But what are some of the hard things that you experience as a blogger and Instagram? Like, is it hard? I'm sure it is.
There are parts of it that are hard. I haven't found it difficult to find motivation. Like, I still really love what I do, and I feel like I'm pretty lucky to get to do something that I really enjoy. So, like, finding motivation to do this stuff isn't difficult. But I think the biggest challenge is just that things change constantly. It's like, oh, this Instagram algorithm has changed, and now I got to figure out, do people want voiceovers? Do people want fast videos? Do they want every step of the recipe? Do they just want to see, like, and so I feel like it's constantly trying to figure out what people want, what the algorithm wants, what my followers want. And sometimes it's a little bit of a guessing game, and I have tried so many things that don't work, but you kind of just have to be like, well, that didn't work. Like, I'm going to just try the next thing and keep it moving. So it just changes constantly, but that can be kind of fun too.
Crazy.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Yep. Fresh. Let's take it back to the food. What, just some quick like tips. Go to her website for more. Obviously, I heart veggies, but some quick tips like how to incorporate, like some of our husbands may not be up on veggies. Not mine. He loves veggies, but or kids, whatever.
Totally.
How would you say, like, let's hide this?
I think there's a few things that can help. I think having multiple options for the people in the family that might be a little bit pickier, like maybe the whole meal doesn't center around broccoli, but maybe you can add like a broccoli salad or some roasted broccoli or broccoli with a different dipping sauce or something that like feels familiar but isn't too out there. I think there's also ways to kind of like tweak a familiar thing. So maybe you're used to doing like ground beef tacos and now you're doing black bean tacos, but you use the same salsa, same toppings, all that kind of stuff, so that like, especially for younger eaters, it feels like a little bit less new and scary. So I think that can help. I also think once you just sort of like have a few go-to recipes, it makes life so much easier, where you're like, I know I'm always going to have the ingredients to make this particular curry or whatever, something that just has like pantry staples on the nights when you're like, oh, I don't know what to make, I'm just gonna order takeout. It's like, wait, I know I have the coconut milk and the rice noodles to make this one dish.
That's so good right now.
I have so many 15-minute recipes, and I'll tell myself, I'm like, I know that it will literally be faster for me to make this meal than to order takeout. Like,
Yeah.
so that can help too.
And it's good for the bank.
Good for the bank, good for the body.
If you weren't blogging and you were just doing regular cooking, like, would you have to do like so much prep? Or because I think that scares people when they think about like vegetarian or vegan dishes or whatever, like anything new.
Totally. I think that, I mean, I am fortunate that like we usually just eat for dinner whatever I made while recipe testing that afternoon. But I also think that it doesn't have to be nearly as complicated as what it seems like on, you see the food videos, you see the things that like just, they have all these ingredients that you've never heard of. You'd have to go to the store and buy like 7 different new things that you're never going to use again. I try to keep my recipes to be things that like, if you buy the ingredient, you can use it in these 5 things. So you don't have this bottle of whatever that sits in your fridge until it goes bad. I also think there's plenty of shortcuts. So like we eat a ton of broccoli in my house. I buy the pre-washed, pre-cut broccoli because I know that like I am going to use that broccoli. And for me, that's like worth the extra couple dollars to know that like it's ready to go when I need to just throw some broccoli in the air fryer. So like finding those shortcuts, I think can also help a lot.
I'm like that with cauli rice. I always get it pre-chopped.
I do too.
So smart. I hate making cauliflower rice from scratch, so I'm with you.
Lee, do you have any questions food related before we hop into some other topics?
Oh, it's funny you ask. See, I am those of you who know about me, I I went to the University of Richmond Culinary Arts Institute.
Oh, I forgot, Lee.
Yes,
I did
and
too.
so I was a big fan of I Heart Veggies a long time ago, and so when I heard you were going to be on the show, I was really I'm doing the fanboy thing. If I'm a little
Fangirl. I'm a
stuttering,
fanboy.
But yeah, I love all your advice, and it's like discovering vegetables was one of the great things about going to school. It's like you're talking about how you can sneak it in on people and they don't even notice. It's like adding mushrooms and black beans into beef. You can like reduce the amount of beef, and then one day they might not even notice it's gone. But I found that like vegetables, it's very much the way you cook them. It's I remember I thought I hated asparagus, because I always eaten stuff out of the can.
Lemon juice.
Then I had grilled asparagus. And grilled asparagus just made my day. I said, okay, this is now my favorite vegetable. But yeah, there's so many, but there's so much variety. I mean, a produce section is so big now. It's like if you don't want onions, you can try leeks.
Totally.
It's like if you don't, or shallots. It's like there's like 4 different types of tomatoes, and they all taste different. So, I mean, do you have like a favorite type of onion or tomato you like to cook with?
Ooh, that's such a good
Oh,
question.
and then there's raw versus cooked.
Yes. So I am a big fan. I feel like almost any vegetable, I'll roast it. Like when in doubt, just roast it. Or throw it in the air fryer. Like that's my go-to. I am loving summer tomatoes right now. My husband has a huge garden in the back that I will take no credit for, but the tomatoes are so good. And I think it's the perfect example of like when you eat local in-season produce, you barely have to do anything to it and it tastes amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
My boyfriend's mom is from Bosnia, and she like has an insane garden. It's huge, and she grows a bajillion tomatoes. And I have some right now, and they're so good.
So good.
Oh, yeah, we made brunch the other week with some of those. And her potatoes, they were delish.
Shout out to Medina. You're awesome. I love you.
You're talking about cholesterol, and I actually reduced my cholesterol by like 10 points by eating pistachios and cashews. I don't eat potato chips anymore. And it's like, and they're more expensive, but they become their own form of addictive. It's
Hey,
wonderful.
worth it.
But yeah, it's like, I found out that cooking cashews, sometimes people will think it's chicken.
Oh, that's so funny. Cashews are just an incredibly versatile ingredient. Like, it's just amazing. You can make cashew cream.
Didn't know that.
All the good vegan sauces. It's amazing.
Yeah, the dip you
With the
did
fake
on
cheese,
today's
right?
episode. I have. That's going to be
You
wonderful.
gotta try it.
I don't know. It's so sinful. It looks so good.
Sinful.
Yeah, and you can tell I'm a big sinner.
Okay, moving in.
No.
Oh, wait,
I
sorry.
got more.
Sorry.
Excuse me, madam. What are some of your favorite local vegetarian spots?
Well, that's
See that in
Ooh,
Richmond.
Okay, such
yeah.
a good question. And so funny because you mentioned Blue Atlas earlier, and that is one of my favorite spots because they have so many really creative vegetarian dishes. Like they do change their menu a lot, and they always have a lot of vegetarian stuff on there. So like that is one of our go-to like date night celebration
cool.
spots because
Yum.
it is so vegetarian friendly. But I have been so impressed with how Richmond has evolved over the last decade, and like you can go pretty much anywhere and get an exciting, interesting vegetarian meal that's not like a veggie burger or a salad without the chicken.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's been really fun to just see the dining scene evolve.
Is there any other places that you can think of? Because we love to go to restaurants.
This is like the hardest question.
You can also let us know
Stella's-
later.
Stella's for sure. Whether like, I mean, I feel like I can rarely get into the actual Stella's, but like Stella's Market, so many good options, so many good like grab and go stuff, salads. I love it. But even like some of the classics like Cuba Cuba, some of the salads there, like it's so good. And it's just, I just love being in like one of those Richmond spots, you know?
Yep. I can taste their plantains now.
I'm getting hungry.
So good.
We're going to tie it all back together, but
Yes.
we're going to move into a different subject. So you said that you are a foster parent. At what age and why did you decide to become a foster parent?
Such a good question. So my husband and I had kind of talked about it casually for years, kind of like, oh, that would be an interesting thing to do. But we hadn't taken any steps toward it or anything. And then finally we kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, I think I was like about to turn 30 and I was like, we should probably just like figure out if we don't want to do this and if we want to do something else. So we were like, let's just go through the training and we'll just rule it out. And so we went through the training, and we joke that they're trying to talk you out of being a foster parent because they're basically telling you like all the horrible things that are going to happen when you're a
good
foster
thing,
parent.
though.
Yes, which like is smart of them to
And I didn't
prepare
even
you.
know there was training, and I'm so glad there is.
There is intense training, and it was about 99 pages of paperwork, I believe. So it was a long process, but as we went through the process, we were kind of like, yeah, I think this is what we're supposed to do. Like, I think this is our next step. And so it actually like was an interesting timing, because in 2019, I talked my employer into letting me go part-time, because I realized I was spending all my nights and weekends on the blog, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to work a job and have kids and also do this side hustle on all my free time. So I talked my boss into letting me go part-time, which was incredibly generous of them. So at the beginning of 2019, I went part-time, and that gave me time during the day to work on the blog and kind of see like, oh yeah, if I have time to spend on this, I can like make this a job. And so throughout that year, we were going through foster parent training, and we got to the end of the year and we were wrapping up our training, and it just became very clear that it was like, I can say goodbye to my 9 to 5 and do the blog full time, which was a huge blessing, not just financially, but also like gave us so much more flexibility, which turns out you need as a foster parent. There are lots of appointments and lots of meetings and lots of things that just have to happen when they happen. And so at the end of 2019, I left my job, started blogging full time, and then about 3 weeks later, we had our first set of kids move in. And so it was kind of a whirlwind, but it all worked out.
Okay, so what was that like, getting your first set of kids? Can you explain the experience? Was it kind of scary, your first time ever doing this?
It was bananas. It was crazy because my husband and I don't have biological kids. And so we had a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 15-month-old. They ended up only being with us they were only with us for about a week, but it was like our first experience in parenting. And it was like, oh, wow, this is a lot.
Were they related?
Yeah. And it was just a whirlwind week. And I think we learned more in that week than we had learned in like the 4 months of training before that. It was a really interesting experience. And I am so grateful that we had that time, even though it was like very short, and that had a good ending, as good as they can, I think. It was like, oh, wow. Okay, foster parenting, this is going to be a lot, but like we're in this. We're going to do this.
I guess that was a good way to dip your toes into what it's going to be like.
It really was. It really was. And then in March 2020, March 9th to be specific, about 10 days before the world shut down, we had an 8-year-old and a 3-month-old move in with us, and they were with us for about a year. And so that was very interesting because we were not expecting there to be a global pandemic.
Yeah.
So we knew that foster parenting was going to be challenging, but we were not expecting to do it alone. And that's kind of what it turned into in 2020, which was really, really hard, as I'm sure it was for most people listening. But now looking back, I can see we had so much more time with those kids than we would have in a normal world. We were all home together 24/7, at least for a few months until daycares and things like that opened up. And looking back, I'm grateful that we had the time, although I would not have said that in the moment when we were going through it. So it was really hard, but it was also a really good experience.
Was it hard to give them away?
Yeah, I was going to say psychologically, how does that affect you? Because I'm like, I'll get attached to a
bond,
leaf
yeah.
or something. I don't know.
It's so interesting because so many people say like, oh my gosh, I could never do it. I would get too attached. And it's like, that's kind of the point. Like, the kids need to be able to experience healthy attachment. And so that means going all in, like opening up and being like, we're in this. We're not going to like put a wall between us and them. And it does make it really, really hard, but it also makes it really special. Like, I think it's the thing that makes it worth it. It's like they feel like a part of our family, even though they're not with us anymore. Like, we love them just like we would love biological kids. And we're really fortunate that we're able to kind of stay in touch and sort of know what's going on with them. But yeah, it is very difficult to say goodbye, but it's also the goal, you know, like the goal is goodbye.
So you said that not in a typical situation, because it was the pandemic, you had them for so long. So what is a normal window of time to have foster children, and like they just like do they
there a
bounce
normal amount of
around?
time?
I wish that there was an answer, and we joke that the answer to every question is it depends. And that is the answer. There's no timeline really. And that's part of what makes it tricky is like when you say yes, you don't really know if it's going to be a week or a month or a year or forever. And that's part of what makes it a very interesting adventure.
So like why did they have to leave? Is there like reasons why they have to move to a different family, different foster families?
The goal in foster care is to reunite kids with family, with relatives or family members, whenever that's possible. And so our hope is to just step in that in-between time while they're kind of figuring out what the next phase looks like. And luckily that is often the case. And it's an interesting feeling because it's like, I'm sad for myself, but I'm so happy for them because like, that's the goal. Like that's what we want to happen. And I think that sometimes that message of foster care doesn't always get spread, that like that's the goal. Like you want these kids to be back with their families if they can in a safe and healthy way. And so to get to be a part of that is really special.
Gonna make me cry. Oh.
I know. Well, and imagine the ripple effect you have in their lives.
Totally.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Could you tell us a little bit of what the Richmond foster care system is like? Some of like sad stuff you've seen, great stuff you've seen, just anything?
Yeah, I think that the challenges and the great things that we've seen here in Richmond are probably the same anywhere you would be. I think that most of these departments are underfunded. They don't have the support they need. The social workers and all of the people involved have a lot of work to do and not a lot of resources to do it with, which I think just makes it really difficult. But everyone that we've worked with and seen, like, they care about these kids. They want to do what is best for these kids. And sometimes they don't have the resources and things that we wish they had. But I do think that it's been really cool to see, at least here in Richmond, the way the community is trying to help and support these kids. The ways that local organizations and businesses and churches are donating and supporting and finding ways to host events for foster families or provide a discount to foster families or find ways to celebrate birthdays and holidays and milestones and things that might otherwise kind of go unnoticed, especially for kids that are in group homes or aren't in like a foster home. How do you make sure that they get a birthday and that they get to celebrate graduation and all those things? And there are some really amazing organizations, Worth Days, Celebrate RVA. There's some great organizations that are doing so much work behind the scenes to make sure that these kids are supported and cared for.
We'll link them.
Yeah, we'll link all of them.
I was going to ask, so I'm assuming this is like a state thing. Does it vary, like the way you can get into it from state to state, or is it more like city to city or nationwide, or there's some like standard things, or like for people who are interested in looking into this more?
Yeah, it does depend. In some states, there's like only private organizations, and then in other states, it's only through government organizations. But here in Richmond, you can either foster directly through like the Department of Social Services, or there are therapeutic foster care agencies that kind of have a different type of like wraparound support and also have kids that might have a little bit of different needs. Sure. So there's organizations like UMFS that is like a private organization, or you can foster directly through like Richmond City or Henrico County and things like that.
Interesting.
This is a question that I didn't write down, but I just thought of. So are there ever like big foster care like events where like there's multiple families there and you get to see kids that you've had like years ago?
So it is really cool. There are some awesome networks for foster families and adoptive families and kind of people that have been in this for a while to do like a flying squirrels game or something like that. And it is really cool to get to see not only like people that we've interacted with in the past, but I think it's also just really cool, like for our adopted son to get to see other kids that are in similar situations and like families that look like ours and things like that. So it is cool to see that there are those organizations kind of bringing people together for something like that.
Okay, speaking of your adopted son, can you tell us what that was like? When did you adopt him? Tell Tell us the story.
Yes. So he came to us in August of 2021. He was about 14 months old, and we thought he was only going to be with us for a couple months. But as these things go, there were a lot of unexpected things that kind of happened throughout his situation. But we officially adopted him in January of this year, which is crazy. And it was just an interesting thing because there is a lot of just heaviness and sadness that kind of happens in the process where things don't go according to what the plan was for this kid. And that's really hard. But throughout kind of the whole process and the journey, I feel like we finally got to the place where it was like, I'm allowed to be happy about this. Like, I'm allowed to be excited that this is what our family looks like. And so it's kind of a roller coaster of emotions going through that.
I bet.
And are you guys still fostering?
We are. Yeah,
nice.
We are.
How many kids do you currently have right at the moment?
So we have our adopted son, and then we have a teenager living with us.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's great.
Okay, here's a random one. What is the most amount of kids you've had in your home and the least?
The most we had was when we had 3 kids. And then we were like, maybe we are not set up for kids. So then we had 2. They were with us for about a year. And then we had 1 who we've now adopted, which it was like, wow, going from 2 kids to 1 kid is actually very easy. And now we're back to 2. So, yeah.
Nice.
Do your kids like your cooking?
Okay. The toddler is not a fan of vegetables, which is just hilarious. It's like, yep, this sounds right. So I had to get creative with how I hide vegetables into things, but it's been a good learning experience.
Do you only feed them like a vegetarian diet, or do some of your kids eat meat?
Oh, they all eat meat. We've never tried to have anyone else eat a vegetarian diet. And especially, like, I think that is something interesting too, like in foster care specifically, like you want kids to have familiar foods, familiar flavors, familiar comforts and all of that. And so sometimes that means chicken nuggets and Takis, and that's cool.
That right
I want all the food right now. I'm starting.
Vegetables, meat, give it to me. Okay.
I have any upcoming either vegetarian or vegetable friendly events, or any upcoming events that might support the foster care system. Like I know the Hanover Tomato Festival and the Supper Some events are going on, all about tomatoes. Listeners, if you haven't
I
seen
love
that,
that. The Richmond Vegetarian Festival is going to be happening, I believe, in September at like the Dogwood Dell area.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great. Always a good festival. Always fun to be able to eat literally anything at the festival. That is a fun experience.
That is like a festival for the vegetarians.
It's amazing.
Do you participate in it, or is it like you just go
I
eat?
just attend and eat all the
Yes,
things.
yes.
And I'm like, it's so hard because it's like, I have to really strategize. Like, which truck am I going to go to? What dish am I going to get? Like, I could eat anything here. So it's always a fun experience.
Bring your camera.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, bringing it back to the foster care. Sorry. What is the hardest thing about being a foster parent?
I think that one of the things that I wasn't necessarily expecting was just how difficult it can be to sort of explain some of the unique challenges that come along with kids that are coming from hard places, and just some of the like accommodations and things they might need that are a little bit out of the ordinary, or trying to explain different parenting styles to people that maybe have done it differently. I think that was an aspect that I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I think it's also just been really rewarding, especially getting to have conversations with people about foster care and just what the purpose of it is and what we're here to support and what we're trying to do. I think it's been awesome to help get to try to educate a little bit and kind of spread the word on like what foster care is and what foster care isn't and why it matters so much.
And going off of that, what kind of advice do you have for people who are considering becoming a foster parent?
Ooh, I would say just take the class. Just see what you think. We kind of went into it without any expectations, without really knowing what we were going to do next. And I think it is a very eye-opening training. I think you get to learn a lot about what to expect. And it certainly is not for everybody. I don't think that everyone should be a foster parent, but I think that there are ways that anyone could get involved. And so I think when you start to get a little bit closer to the system and the kids and the families, it can open your eyes to maybe ways that you want to get involved, whether that's being a foster parent or maybe that's being a volunteer CASA worker who's sort of like an advocate for the kid throughout the case, or maybe you want to help with an organization collecting donations to help celebrate kids that are having a birthday or something like that. And so I think the closer you get to it, the clearer it can be of how you could get involved.
Love it. And were the classes through VDH or?
Yeah, we did them through the county. Mm-hmm.
And how long did that last?
I think it was like a 12-week class maybe, and then it was probably another like 3 months of home studies and paperwork and all that stuff.
If you could change the Virginia or Richmond foster care system, what are some main ways, or even one way you can think of off the top of your head?
Honestly, I feel like this is probably the simplest answer, but just like more resources. I feel like all the people we've worked with are amazing and are truly trying their best, doing wonderful things in really hard situations. And so I think just access to more resources, more funding, more programs would be amazing.
Okay, well, is everyone okay to wrap up this segment of the interview before I ask how we can support Liz?
I do want to ask that. I had a question here. What's the craziest experience you've had as a food blogger and as a foster parent?
Let's see. Those are probably two very different answers.
So did it happen on the same night? No.
Yeah.
Craziest experience.
Something fun. Something.
One thing that's fun as a food blogger is just the people that I've gotten to meet along the way. Like, I have met some of my best friends in Richmond through blogging, and it's so fun to see just the range of content creators in Richmond is kind of amazing, and getting to see like there's food bloggers, there's fashion bloggers, there's lifestyle bloggers, there's mom bloggers. There was a guy that had a blog about his beard. Like, he just had a whole blog about
That's
growing his
awesome.
beard. And it's like, that is so random, but I love it. And literally, like, one of the bridesmaids in our wedding, like, I met her through blogging. And it's like, so random, but it really is like a cool way to kind of get to meet people and bring people together.
That's so cool. Okay, and what about foster care?
Yeah.
I feel like I have to think on this one.
Probably been a
You
lot.
had a lot more experience than the average person does. With, you've had different children and different experiences.
And through a pandemic, my God.
Oh my
Through a
gosh! Yeah.
That
pandemic.
was your first
Did you guys
time
do
to-
anything like crazy, silly, funny, like camping out in the kitchen?
We did
or
do.
like,
This was a fun memory of our COVID time. Honestly, like, it started to feel like all the days were just running together. Like, you couldn't even tell what day it was. And so every Friday we had a theme night. And so on Thursday I would like slip a note under our foster son's door to like give him a clue as to what the theme would be. And then it would be like indoor camping, or we would do like robot night where we'd have like themed food and themed movie and themed craft and like all these things. And it was fun to have like something to look forward to when it felt like all the days were the same. It was like, okay, what's the theme for Friday?
You're so cool.
that is
It's
really
fun to get to like look back on that and be like, man, that was fun. That was a hard season, but that was fun.
You're making my heart swell up. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what is the name of your cookbook, and where can we find it? Amazon?
It is the Truly Healthy Vegetarian Cookbook. You can find it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or places like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm definitely gonna pick
Excellent.
one up because it's cool. Like the different guests that we have on, we get to like support
Support.
them all.
Yes, I've been buying the books. Yeah.
For sure.
Love it.
All right. Well, I think it's time for a word from our sponsor. Are you guys schwitzing or are you spritzing? Or both? I think you need a spritz. That's right. Grab a coastal spritz. It's amazing. As we've said before, it's the first canned wine spritzer that we've ever actually loved. We have a box of rosé watermelon, pineapple, and rosé, and the packaging and bottles are so cute. Oh, she's popping one open now.
one open
You're
is
spritzing now. Well, I'm going to take a sip of mine.
Anyone need another one?
I will. You
Okay,
can grab
there you
me
go.
one. There you go. Because guess what? I can enjoy them without feeling guilty. Why? Why do you ask? Because they are 85 to 100 calories per can. Gluten-free,
Damn.
baby, so you ain't going to swell up at all. And the max of only 5 grams of sugar. It's amazing. And did I mention 100% real fruit juice? I mean, I feel like I'm
definitely
mainlining a pineapple or a watermelon, depending
Yeah.
on which one I choose, or your classic rosé.
And it's so light. The flavor is just, it's not overwhelming. It's not too sweet. It's not too not sweet. It's just perfect.
That's right. So,
2 ingredients: carbonated water and red wine. And rosé wine.
Oh, because
that's
you're having the
right.
rosé.
Yeah.
Lee is
rosé.
having the traditional rosé.
Classic.
He's a classy man.
That's right. He's a classic. Check them out. They're being sold locally here in RVA. You can find them at Benchtop Brewery, Corks and Kegs, and they'll be at the Watermelon Festival in a few weeks. Try them now because it's hotter than Hades out there, y'all.
Yeah.
Spritz it up. Drink Coastal Spritz.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right.
Time for fun stuff.
Yes. Let's
Well,
move on to
it's all been fun, but
I
even
know.
more fun.
Let's lighten it up a little bit. Time for fun questions. Olivia, you got one?
Ooh, okay. This is a cool one for a food blogger. If you could invent a new dish, what ingredients would you use? And what would it be?
Okay, this is a funny question because we are currently in the cottage cheese era. I don't know if you
Ooh,
guys have
cheese bread.
noticed.
Yes,
but
cottage cheese bread. I want to try.
Literally, I feel like I have been putting cottage cheese in everything and somehow it works. I don't know how. Pancakes, dip, pasta, literally breadsticks, bagels. I'm telling you, it's magic. So my dish would probably involve cottage cheese.
I love that. And now I want cottage cheese as
We're
well.
going to make cottage cheese bread on Sunday. We are.
luck.
I'm telling Liz this now.
Okay. I'm up for it. Lee, you got one?
It would have to be garlic. Garlic, tomatoes, and mushrooms. It's got those 3 things. I'll eat it. Put it on a car bumper. I'll eat it.
I love like weird, probably unhealthy combinations. Like I would like a dish that involves peanut butter, hot sauce. I don't know, ice cream maybe.
Hey, peanut butter hot sauce. That sounds like Thai food.
It does, yes.
I love it.
We could have like a weird like coconut curry
That's it.
ice cream
Ooh.
I'm getting hungry.
Coconut.
or beer. I don't know. I had a coconut curry beer once and it was so good. It was God, what's the one with the bicycle? Fat Tire.
Oh, yeah.
They made like one batch and then they never made it again. It was so good.
Oh, I almost burped. Okay. All right. So, you guys, last podcast I told you that I had a colonoscopy. And I found out that I'm not gluten intolerant or celiac, which is good news, but also like, then why the hell am I experiencing all this? But, so I would choose bread because I can have it now.
Yay! But we're still gonna try cottage cheese bread.
'Cause we're trying to be
healthier.
Bagels have returned.
Yep, they have, and they're here to stay for life. But what is it? Oh, what was I going to say? Not as often as I used to have them, because I think that might be my problem. Who knows? Irritable bowel syndrome, guys. I have it.
Me too.
Oh,
Yep.
let me clap for us.
Thank God I don't.
All right, Lee, pick a question for our guest.
Let's see. Oh, okay. A good question for a food blog. What's the weirdest snack you like to eat?
Oh, now I feel like I got to come up with something like really weird.
Please.
Okay, you know what is surprisingly good is sweet potato with almond butter. I used to do this all the time, like microwave a sweet potato, mash it up, and put on almond butter and a little bit of cinnamon. It is so good.
Sounds amazing.
yum.
So
I'm gonna have
good,
to
so
try
easy.
that.
That doesn't sound weird to me.
We were in Morocco and we got this weird, well, it's not weird, but it's their like main spread they use on everything. It's called amlou. It's like an almond butter, but it already has spices and honey mixed in.
Ooh.
And so now that you said that, I'm like, the wheels are turning. Because the other night, I had a few drinks and I was just eating it with a spoon. It hit the spot, but I should put it on something.
The other thing I love that is apparently controversial is frozen grapes. I think they're
me too.
the
I
love
best,
that.
especially this time of year. But put them on Instagram. You'll find out that is a polarizing opinion.
Really?
Yes.
These people are crazy.
I love any frozen fruit.
Same.
Me too.
Yeah, so I don't eat much fruit. I don't like sweets. I'm not a sweets person, but apples about as far as I'll go. I like making my own apple recipes.
God, the peaches right now, they are so good. They make you want to slap somebody.
Georgia.
That's that
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Peach cobbler, yeah.
I got one, not food related, because why not? What is the worst fashion or hair decision you've ever made?
Okay, worst fashion decision. I feel like I have a lot of options, but I don't know if it was my fault or if that was just. Remember when like wearing dresses over jeans was a thing?
Oh my God, yes, I never got
Or
that.
like those tunics with the giant belts.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
So many like the tunics with the belts and the leggings. Yeah, I mean there was a lot of wet seal back in 2009. You know,
Wild fashion.
I don't need to see those Facebook
Yeah,
photos, but
Olivia, bring it back. Yeah.
Oh boy.
2009 is a great year.
Oh yeah. We've talked about this a
How
lot.
old were you then, Olivia?
What year?
2009.
2009. I was 13.
Oh,
Going on
Lord.
14.
a baby.
I was a baby. But we've talked a lot about poor fashion choices, and I'll tell you another one. A big neon pink sports bra with a sheer black see-through tank top in college. Beautiful. And a bunch of ribbons in my hair. I thought I was hot. And knee socks.
Sexy.
What the hell?
You're ready for a leg warmers concert.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
Are you
actually.
trying to channel Madonna or something?
But I was going to a regular club.
I know, that sounds like her outfit from Desperately Seeking Susan that you always see.
So I was thinking of that.
You know, I always think I am dressing so cool, and then I wonder if I'm doing it now because I thought it was normal, and then I look back at this age and I'm like, what, Olivia? And I hope I'm not gonna say that 10 years from now, but what I'm wearing now.
Yeah, I
Well, actually, not this outfit, but a one where I'm trying to look cute.
see. I base my wardrobe primarily on what doesn't itch.
That's a good rule to live by.
Same.
I'll admit, you ladies have it tougher when it comes to things like that. I have like 10 versions of the same thing.
Black.
Yeah, black shorts and a black golf shirt. That's it.
It's a capsule wardrobe.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
what is it? It's my look. I'm affecting that. Yeah.
I just remember like color schemes. Like you remember Olin Mills
Yes.
Yes.
photographs. So my dad and we have a picture of the two of us where it's like my head floating in the background, but he's wearing like a mustard and taupe, like weird, all brown and doo-doo, like diarrhea yellow. And I'm wearing the same thing, like echoes of it in the background. Horrible.
The head floating in the background. That was an Olin Mills thing. I remember
I
that.
remember that look. Yeah.
That was their go-to.
Hey, I want to tell you.
I know, like literally that picture like burst into flames as you're doing that.
Okay, I got one for you, and this is one. There's no existing pictures, which thank God. I once had a leisure suit.
What?
Yes.
I wish there were pictures, but I'll try
Yeah.
to imagine it. No.
Yeah, it's like what it's like.
What did Gretchen think of it?
Well, I couldn't have been more than 13 or 14, but my mom thought, oh, that's in the fashion now. Let's get you a leisure suit, and with the jackets that had it's like the light blue jacket that had the stitching around
Oh
the
my
outside.
gosh, yes.
It's like,
Did you have the white,
of
like
course, the white
loafers
shoes.
or whatever? Yeah.
I looked like Randy Quaid
I was
from
gonna say, that's what I'm
Vacation.
picturing.
Yeah, it's like.
Shitter's full. No.
And I had this long hair. It's like I had this 1970s long hair. Yeah, it's like, yeah, there's no, but just the thought of it being out there somewhere just scares me.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Well, I think it might be time to go on and say, yes, give it.
Give it to us, Lily.
Okay, I'll give it to you. And this time it's going to be the bomb. It's like everyone's heard about the new movie, Oppenheimer. That's the other movie. It's not just Barbie. It's Barbenheimer.
I didn't realize.
They're doing both movies and call it Barbenheimer. With the release of Oppenheimer, psychologists are now seeing a rise in the number of patients who are suffering from what the DSM calls apocalyptic anxiety disorder. It's a pathological phobia of the end of the world.
You know what? I can totally understand that.
Thousands of people are reporting what they call bomb dreams after seeing the movie. Their unconscious sleeping mind replays the more frightening scenes from the movie, along with from other previous Hollywood nuclear Holocaust blockbusters like Fat Man and Little Boy and Day After. If you're old enough to remember Day After, those scared us so bad back in the 80s.
Yep.
But this isn't a new phenomenon. Apparently, it's like doomsday panic has been so widespread. We just have something new, and they just rename it every few months. It's like, but Oppenheimer's given us a new one.
The pandemic didn't help.
Yeah, it's like, it started with
Murder hornets.
a lot of people have religiously based ones. There's like what after 9/11 they said it was an epidemic. Then climate change, and COVID. Yeah, COVID caused it's like really a lot of depression, anxiety, and increasing rates of, sadly, suicide. But professionals are urging people to have these concerns to spend more quality times away from media. It's like,
Good luck with that.
Put the phone down.
yeah,
So hard.
spend time with friends, family, and activities that promote a life-affirming attitude. And it's important to remind ourselves of this great quote. Our earth is degenerate in these days, and there are signs the world is speedily coming to an end. This was written on an Assyrian tablet in 2800 BC.
Wow.
It's always gonna.
It's
Always gonna end.
yeah, it's like I heard on the news today. Oh, the heat's going to kill us all. It's like, we're all.
When?
That's how the TV gets viewers. It's like just they got to scare you. So don't be scared, folks. Just calm down. Just live your life.
Keep calm. Listen to our podcast
Right.
and relax.
Watch the Barbie movie.
Keep calm and listen to Oh Lala in the dungeon and eat veggies.
That's it.
Yeah,
You'll survive.
that's it.
Maybe have a camp out in your kitchen.
Yes.
Not a bad idea.
S'mores and
I actually might do that tonight with my cat.
I think it's time to
Guess Lee's name.
Liz, we like our guests to go first. We each have 3 guesses. We'll go in a round robin, starting with you.
Okay.
Yes, and here it is an unusual name. That's the only hint I've ever given.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with Beethoven.
Ooh, that's a good one.
No,
Fabio.
I like it, though.
Fabio.
no.
Loquacious.
I don't think I'm loquacious. No. That's actually an adjective.
I know, but it could be used as a name. You never know nowadays. Come on.
Oh, yeah, I should change it.
Has anyone gotten close?
I have, apparently.
Okay.
And he said I got close once a long time ago.
No, he didn't.
He did.
What about Archibald?
No,
One. Zachariah.
no,
Guess that one, Baba.
Oh, sorry.
Ichabod.
no. Oh, I would like that. I would like that name. There's so many cool Halloween names I would love.
Augusta.
No.
Frankenstein. I don't know, Lee.
Frankenstein.
She's thinking about my new business cards.
Raphael.
And once again, another week has gone by, and another layer of dust gathers on the gift card. But
It's collecting interest.
but thank you for playing.
Yay. And now,
We need to know how to follow you, Liz.
yes, give us
Where
our socials.
we heard about where we can buy your book and the name. Where can we follow you? How can we support you? How can we support vegetarians in Richmond?
I love that. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at iHeartVeggies. You can also find me online at iHeartVegetables. And I think the best way to support vegetarians in Richmond is probably to come to the Vegetarian Festival in September.
Yeah.
So mark
Okay.
your calendars.
Awesome.
That actually sounds really fun.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll
I'll be
there.
there.
Might have to
I'll be-
vlog it.
This is
Yes.
the produce section. It's awesome.
Great.
And also, how can we again support the foster care system in Richmond? Where can we follow like Richmond foster care?
There's a great organization called Virginia Kids Belong, which does a lot of great things for kids in the area. So we can maybe leave a link to that. And you can check it.
Yes.
Definitely. This was so much fun talking to you.
I know.
That's great. Thanks for having me.
I learned a lot.
Yes, for sure. Shout outs from the episode. Definitely mentioned.
Blue Atlas.
Yes, Blue Atlas. Where else did we go?
Stony Point Fashion Mall.
Yes, Maya's belly dancing. I said somewhere else. Well, Bovine Burger you love.
Bovine Burger.
Order it to go.
Let me.
Oh, and Mama J's for sure. Or go to the market on 25th. Their fried chicken is there as well.
Beach House. Shout out to Rachel, the bartender. Shout out to Sean Speak and his partner who do karaoke all through Richmond. They do karaoke at the Beach House and at MPM Tiki Bar. They're awesome. They do karaoke on Monday at Beach House and then Friday and Saturday at MPM. They're like, seriously, karaoke can be boring. They make it so much fun because Sean will hype you up as you sing. He'll do backup for you. He'll dance around. He doesn't care. And I love him. I'm excited to have him on.
And shout out to Caddy's, our favorite
stomping ground.
local watering hole over on the south side.
The Powhatan Bonanza Rodeo and Rocky Oak Farm because it's family owned and operated and it's really awesome there. I really liked it.
Agecroft Manor Shakespeare Festival.
Roma Staples Mill and Moore Street Cafe.
Yeah, ooh, Moore Street. I've been wanting to try that for breakfast.
Oh, generous and
Cheap?
I loved it. Well, yeah, it's a working
But
person.
good, yes.
Yeah.
I love a greasy spoon.
It's like a truck stop in the city. Yeah.
I love a truck stop. Hell yeah. And of course, before we go, we got to shout it out to Lee Dungeon Studios.
You need to record something?
Why, yes, I do.
Do you have a podcast?
Why, yes, I do.
Do you sing?
Why, yes, I do.
Well, come to Lee Dungeon Studio.
I shall.
And remember, if you need the sound, I'm underground.
Except on Thursday, because he's underground with his best gals.
That's right.
They own my Thursdays.
All right. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for listening out there. Thank you, Liz, so much. I heart veggies. I know
Veggies
our
too.
listeners will as well.
And I can't wait to eat more.
Yes. Ciao until next time.
Bye-bye.